My name's Robbie Morin. I'm running for Congress in California. I'm running as a Democrat, and um, something about me, a big part of my life, kind of the biggest part about my life, is that I also own a small business. I have a manufacturing company here in Sacramento. People usually ask what that is, and that's very kind. We paint metal, or as my friends say, we change the color of metal, if that makes any sense to you. It's a company that I built from the ground up, and I'm incredibly proud of it. But what I want to talk about is that in politics, maybe even Democratic circles, there doesn't there isn't always a clean overlay between maybe what people think of as my liberal policies and then my life as a small business owner. But there is one place that really fires me up. That those two places intermingle perfectly, and it doesn't get talked about enough, and that's healthcare. So I have a strong belief that we need a single payer healthcare system. Our current healthcare system has us all worried about the next time we're going to get sick, right? If you're injured, you shouldn't be concerned with how much an ambulance costs. And if you work in a job, you shouldn't be tied to that job solely for the benefits it provides. And so that's kind of what I wanted to dig into right now. And I will preface this by saying this argument that I'm going to make, I don't think needs to be made. I think that the benefits of single payer healthcare in this country are incredibly obvious, and that those arguments have been made time and time again. We would get good quality healthcare that some of us have access to today, but we would be able to, in the richest country on earth, be able to give that to all of our citizens. And honestly, we would end up spending less money than we do now. But I think you've heard these talking points before. And so I wanted to try to provide a different perspective, not that it needs to be said at all, but the previous arguments I just made haven't gotten through to everybody. And so I wanted to take a different perspective. Like I said, I started a small business from scratch on my own. And for those of you that haven't gone through this process, highly recommend, super fun. But how it works is, you have this idea you believe in so much, you're willing to bet a lot of your life on it, and you go out and you do it. And you have this dream. Maybe you want to sell this idea or this product or this service, whatever it is, and you go out and you start doing it. And you provide that product or service or whatever at the beginning all by yourself. But if you believe in it and it's successful, that idea is going to grow. Your sales are going to grow, and your ability to fulfill those sales is going to shrink because you're just one person. And so the next step in your journey of starting a company is one of the most amazing things ever. You get to go out and hire some employees. You get to invite some people into your dream and have them help build this idea. And that's nerve-wracking for a lot of first-time business owners. Rightfully so. You're, one, inviting people into your idea. Two, you're going to have to give up some level of control and start to trust other people. But I think most importantly, something that weighs on me heavily, and I think a lot of business owners, you're going to have to provide for these folks, right? They're going to stop working wherever they are and come work for you. And so you need to be able to make payroll. And you eventually need to be able to provide benefits for these folks so that they can not worry about their health care. And that's a huge leap. And it's a huge problem. And so I wanted to lay out an argument here, and it goes a little something like this. Causing small business to have to pay for healthcare in the whole system that America has set up right now creates a structural disadvantage for small business owners because they don't have the fat profits of some of the big companies you could think of. Those Fortune 500s, they've grown wildly successful, and they have they have competitive advantages that allow them to perform extremely well in the marketplace. And it also allows them to attract some of the best talent. But when they do that, not only with pay, but also with benefits, right? With healthcare or a 401k. We're effectively golden handcuffing people to these corporations. And I think it does a couple things. One, it just gives these large companies yet another tool to screw over small business, right? To be able to fight on an uneven playing field. And as a small business owner, I would like to level that playing field. And so that's my argument from a business owner's perspective. But I do think there's a national argument to be made here that when you cause barriers of people switching jobs, what it does is incentivizes a company to bring talent in and get them stuck there. And it doesn't incentivize people to want to do the entrepreneurial thing or want to do the thing that will drive the most progress for this country. Because if you are a person in one of these companies and your healthcare is tied to them, you're heavily disincentivized from pursuing your own dream to start your own thing and lose your healthcare. And so I do think that it's not talked a lot about, and maybe that's because it's not the most important part of this issue, but it is a part of the issue that not having guaranteed healthcare for all of our citizens stifles our progress. It stops us from pursuing the greatest and best thing there is. It stops us from pursuing maybe the height of our aspirations or our dreams. It keeps us locked. And I think that is it's un-American to me. It's very counter to what I think America is. And yet these folks that want us to not go after a single payer healthcare system, they'll make these arguments about healthcare innovation or getting the best care, or, they make these like market-based capitalist arguments. And I think they're bad. And I think that they can be countered with this other idea of you are stifling that innovation. You are creating a less free marketplace. And like I said, this argument shouldn't need to be made, but I want to make it. And that's how I'm feeling today. And so, thank you so much for taking a listen. If you want to hear, I write about this on our website. If you want to go check it out at robbiemorin.com, or if you want to hear more or engage more on this topic, I think it's a worthwhile thing to investigate. At least it kind of strikes at what is the soul, what is our soul of America and what do we truly value? So, thank you so much for listening.